Hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have The Victim, a stalker creepypasta fanfic one-shot. The Victim, which is the title I'm going to go with for the rest of this episode.
You want to read the whole thing?
No.
So Reddit no sleep.
This isn't a Reddit no sleep. Yeah. Was written by KrazyKubrowLady on Warframe forums, specifically the fan zone section, about March 2014. So seems like a lot of this is our last creepypasta of TennoVember. And it seems like most of them were, with the exception of our discussion about Nabarus, which came out last year.
Last year, yeah.
Like in game, which is what we were talking about. Seems like a lot of Warframe creepypastas just came out of 2014, like right before the second Dream.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, 2014 was kind of the heyday of creepypastas, like video game creepypastas and like Slender Man and stuff like that. So
there's nothing to do with the way that Warframe is. It's just because that was popular then.
Yeah, that was the new hotness online. Was writing a creepypasta. You can check it out on the Warframe forums in the fan zone section. We'll have a link in the description below, as always. But I shall dive into the rundown. So, while on a mission, a lone Volt Warframe encounters signs of a mysterious massacre. Bloodied corpus bodies, not corpses of bodies, but corpus bodies.
It's a faction.
Yeah, it's a faction. And wreckage and open fires are sprawled around the sites of this mission, and flickering lights and a creeping cold grows more and more frequent as the Volt progresses through this mission. Finally, as Volt enters a room with more of the foul dead and intense cold, a strange dark Warframe appears and fills Volt with intense fear. This frame attempts to headshot Volt with a bow, but fortunately, Volt is no rhino and is quick on the dodge, and manages to, at least for a moment, run away for the nearest exit. Quickly climbing a set of stairs, the Volt meets the dread frame at the top of the stairs and is pushed back down by a wicked scythe, breaking their helmet in two on the way down. The stalker walks over to and pins Volt at the base of the stairs, breaking ribs and hampering Volt's breathing by pressing down on his chest with his boot. Volt then has flashes of his life and his friends as he is cut down by the Warframe's scythe. Through this, the Stalker talks of retribution for crimes against Sargus Rook, a Grineer general. Finn, that's it. It's we're ending TennoVember on a high note, a Stalker creepypasta, because we all know how much we love Stalker.
He's the Jeff the Killer of Warframe.
He is kind of the OG boogeyman of Warframe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's this, and you know what? I'll give this story credit. It's in fiction. It's a stalker story in fiction, like from the point of view of a Warframe, not a player playing Warframe. So that was cool. But we shall move on to everyone tolerates the Grammar Inquisitions at this point. So I think most of my notes are Grammar Inquisition, just as a heads up. I have a couple of actual thoughts, but most of the shit I was writing down was grammar issues. So let's just start at the top. The Datamass was in hand, his Sikaris Prime in the other, and a Soma at his back. The lone gold and red Tenno continued past several Moas, Ospreys, and Corpus, leaving a few bodies behind and leaving the others jittering and chatting. So that's all one sentence. So a bit run on. Also, I think it's meant so Moa has an apostrophe between Moa and the S, so it's like possessive. And I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Moas, like plural Moa, comma, ospreys and corpus, because Moas, ospreys, and corpus are or Moas and ospreys specifically are separate units in the corpus faction.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if it was Moa, then apostrophe S, that would be saying Moa is.
Yeah, or the Moas
Possessive.
ospreys, like saying like the osprey of
Ospreys
the Moa.
and the crewmen are owned by the Moas.
Yeah, exactly. And that's definitely not the case, because Moas are like so there's the basic corpus units, which are like human guys and like with cybernetics and shit. Then there's Moas, which are like a sort of like bipedal robot creature that they have as like little pets or like servitors. And then the ospreys
That's
are
just
like
a bipedal creature, like it's only legs.
Yeah, it's like a chicken walker. It's a miniature chicken walker.
Yeah, it's like take an AT-AT from Star Wars, but make it like hip high.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
I mean, you can also add like a top hat to it, and you can customize your own Moa when you get to Fortuna. But I digress. And then ospreys are like a flying servitor robot sort of unit. So
yeah, it's like a floating drone.
Yeah. So yeah, that was really the thing. It's really kind of run on that sentence, and
I redid it.
I didn't redo that one. I redid the next one. I redid my next one, but
I'm saying I did it.
Oh, cool. Okay, so, yeah. Sorry. Then you go.
I can reread that thing. Okay. So the data mass in hand is. Oh, also, I've never looked up the actual origin of the word Sicarus, because you said Sicarus. I've always called it a Sicarus.
I mean, potato.
It is. So. Yeah, that's true. Either way, data mass in hand is Sicarus Prime, and the other someone on his back. The lone gold and red Tenno, and then I added this part, set out on his mission, period. And then start a new sentence. On his way to his goal, comma, he passed several Moas, comma, ospreys, and crewmen. I swapped from corpus to crewmen because ospreys and Moas are also corpus.
Yeah.
Leaving a few bodies behind and leaving the others electrified, jittering, and chattering instead of chatting.
Right, because Volt is a very fast frame, but also a lightning frame, correct? Or electrical frame? Yeah.
Because they're probably not jittering and having a conversation, because it says chatting.
Yeah, it honestly should be like chattering, not shit.
Yeah, that's
chatting.
what I said.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes.
That was my correction, making it chattering. So they're not just being electrified while having a conversation. So, how is your day?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I can move on to the next one?
No. We'll stay here forever.
Okay, fair enough. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Room after room, the lighting became darker and darker. Corpus mysteriously becoming scarce, and patches of fire started to take their place among them until the smoke blocked his view, and not one life form was detected on his scanners after the doors had been locked. Jesus. Okay, so that's another sentence, and that's an entire fucking paragraph. Like, that's all a small paragraph of just a sentence. So, first thing I want to cover here, among is spelled wrong. They use a U instead of an O. So that's the first thing here. And then I did actually rewrite this one. Basically I applied some periods and some punctuation. Room after room, the lighting became darker and darker, period. Corpus mysteriously became scarce. Also became scarce, not becoming scarce, because past tense, present tense stuff. So corpus mysteriously became scarce, and patches of fire and wreckage started to take their place, period. The smoke blocked his view, and not one life form was detected on his scanners after the doors had been locked. So,
yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah. On to my next one. He started to get a little scared of what was behind that door. What could make him this cold, this spine-chilled? I don't think I've ever heard or read spine-chilling as a verb.
Yeah.
And I checked it on dictionary. It is, you can't verb it. And also it's used wrong in this situation, I think, because it seems to be used in this sentence to describe a drop in temperature, like the feeling of having the drop in temperature, when it's generally used to describe the feeling of seeing something horrific and being terrified by that thing. And as an example, the corpse was spine-chilling or hair-raising to look at. Also, it's also in the sentence it's used. It's spine and chilled are two separate words when there's usually a dash to link them together for spine chilling.
Okay.
Yeah.
In your opinion, that shouldn't even be there. Just like remove that little sentence, anyways.
Yeah, like
you can just end it with what would make him this cold.
Exactly. Yeah, that would work perfectly. Yeah, you don't. It's basically just repeating itself. Is that, or it's almost like it's repeating itself there. So, like, what makes him this cold? This cold is kind of what it's trying to say, basically. And then my next one.
Section?
I have to.
Just you said there was a huge run on, didn't you?
Oh, not that one. That was the
okay.
From the previous one.
I rewrote that. I rewrote this section a little bit, so I'll just read that.
Sure.
The lights. So the actual. Where's the part that I need to? Hang on.
Oh, if you're talking about the room after room thing, like I already did that. Like I already did the punctuation thing for that one. Like room after room, the lighting became darker and darker.
No.
Which one are you talking about then? Sorry.
I'm talking about then the lights flickered, the green light shining from the console and the light on his flashlight and the Icarus both disappearing for view for a split second. Like this is the section you're on, because at the end it's what would make him this cold, this spine chill.
Oh, okay. So you're so before that then there was something.
Yes,
okay.
Before that.
Gotcha.
Basically, where is the part? I basically cut out a section because I found it read kind of weird, specifically this area. The green light shining from his console, or from the console, and the light from his flashlight and his Icarus both disappearing from view for a split second. And though the fire was strong in the room, all heat vanished from his bones, and his breath could be seen out of the vents in his helmet, period. Like that's a really long sentence, and it's kind of like talking about two different things. So I just split that up to be green light shining from the console and the flashlight of Icarus both disappearing from view for a split second, period. And then start with, though the fire was strong in the room, all heat vanished from his bones, and his breath could be seen out of the vents of his helmet, period. He started to get a little scared from what was behind the door. Ellipses, what could make him this cold? Because I like ellipses.
Yes. Except when you don't.
I like it when it's put in there for dramatic effect, like the end of this paragraph. I believe it's the end of a paragraph. If it's in the middle, whatever.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Okay, and on to my next one then. The door opened with a whoosh, the stench of death and decay almost making him gag within his helmet, and the chill got even worse when he made his way through a crevice between the door and crates. This one's simple. Opened with is in the sentence itself, like there's no space between them, so it's supposed to be open with a whoosh.
Oh yes.
Yeah. And then my next one here. The lights had flickered again, and his shields had started to suffer before he saw the monstrous damage that had been done to the Corpus platoon stationed here at Kappa Sedna, and where the toxic stench had been coming from. So, again, this is an easy mistake, but monstrous doesn't have an E in it. It is monstrous, so MONSTROUS, not monster OUS.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a very simple typo thing. Like if you weren't looking for it, or if you didn't know beforehand, like you'd probably spell it like the way, or you'd probably spell it out the way you think it would be. But it's
for sure.
Yeah. The next one here, it's gonna come. I'm probably not gonna be able to. Probably not going to be able to like say what's wrong with it, like pronounce what's wrong with it. But bodies lay everywhere, entrails aplenty, body parts strewn across the flooring, and blood stained the walls. So across has one too many C's in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's across.
It's across. Yeah.
Across.
Akros.
That sounds like a weapon in Warframe.
It does sound like a weapon in Warframe.
I'm gonna write that
100%.
down just in case I need that.
Yeah, in case you decide to do like some TennoGen and then like maybe get Digital Extremes to oh god, like so is it like a cross like weapon? Like has like
Yep.
Or is it just a star knife?
Ooh.
An Across. I use my Acro. It's just like a much more like straight. It's not like a curved like glaive. It's like an actual like cross like star knife.
The way I would see it is it's some cross-shaped weapon of some kind, but probably venomous or toxin because it's like acrid. Across.
Yeah.
It's kind of both.
Yeah. I'm also trying to think of like there's a certain herb that was used as like wolfbane. I think it's called wolfbane or acheron, which I think is actually like a bane of werewolves. Okay, it's called aconitum.
You got the ack right.
Yeah, aconite. That's what I was thinking of.
Sounds like a mineral.
Yeah, well, aconite I think is like they used it in probably like in some fantasy games I've played, where it's like it's like a spooky mineral or something.
Of course, I was gonna jokingly say it's spooky because it's like
like I'm pretty sure aconite like is used in like the undead area of World of Warcraft.
My God, of course it is. Represent the Bulinium, right?
Bulinium.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a thing?
No, I'm making another joke.
Goddamn, Bulinium. I got you. All right, moving on. Sparks fell from the lights. Fire burned corpus bodies to ash. Though Volt could not feel a thing, he checked a body for temperature. So the one period that I think is misplaced or misused in this story, so I think it honestly like should be like sparks fell from the lights. Fire, fires burned corpus bodies to ash, and though Volt could not feel a thing, he checked one of the remaining bodies for temperature.
Yes. However, I would like to make another change as well because
Sure.
for me, the whole Volt could not feel a thing was confusing.
I have that actually my counter note like after I reword the sentence, but also if he can't tell through his touch the temperature, why is he checking the body's temperature?
No, I don't think that's what it's meaning.
Okay,
at all.
That's what it sounds like when you read it, though.
Yes, that's why it confused the hell out of me.
Okay.
What I think it meant is, this is how he rewrote it: fire burned corpus bodies to ash. Though Volt, fire burned corpus bodies to ash. Though Volt was still freezing cold, feeling no heat from the flames. Period.
Oh.
He checked the bodies for temperature. So I think it's in regards to there's fire everywhere, but he's still cold.
Gotcha.
I think
that sounds about right. That sounds like that's probably what it meant. Like in all likelihood,
because he could be checking the body for temperature with like a scanning device on his visor or whatever.
I guess, yeah.
He's not like getting a freaking thermometer and.
Well, I just figured like he was like feeling because it says like though he couldn't feel anything, he was just like putting his finger in to like see if he could like see how warm it is.
But yeah, again, if he couldn't feel anything, why would he even bother? So it has to be in regards to the fire being everywhere, though he's freezing cold.
Exactly. I think that you're probably more accurate to that. So
I believe so.
Okay. And then my next one is another one that's not going to be able to really translate well with like pronunciation, but his heart started to beat rapidly, and he started to panic, dropping the data mass to the blood-stained floor and drawing his soma nearly so fast that the fire rate on it could barely keep up. Okay, two things here. First off, rapidly, like I said earlier, pronunciation kind of comes up, but it has two P's in it when it should have one.
Yeah, it's rapidity.
Yeah, it's rapidity. Yeah, no, rapidly.
It is Pidley, you're right.
That's my new rapper name, Rapidly.
Yeah.
But also, so he just immediately held down the trigger as he drew the gun? Because that's how it sounds like he's doing it. Like, as he's like pulling out the soma, he's like, ah!
Yeah, but there was like nothing there. Like at that point,
So why is he firing?
I don't think he is.
Why does it say that he's like so fast that the fire rate on it could barely keep up?
I don't know, but I don't think he's shooting. I think what he's trying to basically say is like the way I rewrote it is drawing it so fast that it was ready before the data mass hit the floor. Like he dropped it and then pulled the gun out real quick. I don't know.
Like
what
he's doing it so fast that it's actually fast. Rate. I think what he's trying to use is he's trying to use the fire rate as a descriptor for how fast he drew the gun, because like he drew it so fast, he drew his gun faster than the fire rate of his gun, because the fire rate is maybe it doesn't need to be there the fire rate because he doesn't use it.
He doesn't shoot it once, does he?
No.
Right.
So yeah, it just maybe he drew data mass to the bloodstained floor and drawing his soma maybe just as fast as he could.
Or like I said, he drew the soma so quick that it was ready before the data mass hit the floor.
Oh yeah, and drawing his soma faster, drawing his soma before before the data mass even hit the floor, maybe.
Because right before that, it did just mention the data mass hitting the floor.
Yeah, that's true.
So that'd be doubling down. So like in the fire, lightning fast, because he's Volt. Haha.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it fits. All right, my next one here. The figure drew his bow, aiming it directly at Volt's helmet. So this one, Volt is not the Volt doesn't have a capital V when it should, because it's the name of the Warframe. It's a name. Yeah. So that's a simple one. Next one here. Out of the 4 doors, he chose the nearest to the right and tried to make it up the stairs, but the stairs seemed endless. Adrenaline pumping through his veins, heart pounding in his head, and Lotus almost screaming in the comlink to get out of there, but the cold was so intense that it was breaking up the comm. First off, veins, like the I and the E in veins is just moved just in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So, but also, this story has way too many run-on sentences. That's really just it. Like I gave up at this point. Just like fuck it. The story has too many sentences, or too many just like sentence-long paragraphs. And I didn't fix it because again I was just like, at this point, like the English teacher would just be too many run-ons. Fix this.
Yeah.
Did you have a way to fix it, or did you not at this point?
That specific one, no.
Okay. So on to my next one here. Suddenly, his heart skipped. The figure was in front of him, and similar to Excalibur, he rushed forward with his twisting scythe and pushed Volt to fall down the metal stairs, breaking his helmet in 2 to make his deep sapphire right eye, pale peach skin, and a few locks of red hair visible. So first off, Excalibur spelled wrong. It needs a U at the end, so it's EXCALIBUR, not ER, like it is in the story. Sapphire is also spelled wrong, just slightly. It needs actually. This is a case where it needs a double P because it's sapphire. And also, I just have to comment here. Oh, sweet, naive, pre-Second Dream 2014, with its descriptors of the Warframe underneath its suit.
Yep.
But that's all I'm going to touch on that. Without going too far into spoilers.
Literally every single episode of TennoVember this year.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help that every story we've done for TennoVember this year, with the exception of the first one, which was our talk about Nabarus, the stories are pre-Second Dream.
Yeah. Shit happens, so.
I know. Yeah. Shit happens.
Yeah.
And then my last one is this one here. His life flashed in his mind. His friends, Nyx, Mag, Rhino, and Ember, when Lotus freed him from the pod. okay, I needed to restructure this sentence because they're just using commas. They're not using any other like punctuation to like help break this up. So it's just like his life flashed in his mind, comma, his friends, comma, Nyx, comma, Max, not, comma, Rhino and Ember, comma, when Lotus freed him from the pod, period. So I restructured it to be his life flashed in his mind, comma, of his friends, semicolon, Nyx, comma, Mag, comma, Rhino and Ember, comma, all around him when Lotus freed him from the pod.
Or you could swap that around to before you do the list, put the mention of all of his friends around him before he left the pod, colon, listed people.
Absolutely, that would work as well.
Because that would also remove another comma.
Yeah. One too many commas. Throw one away. But that is my grammar inquisition. That I was like, because there's a lot of run-on sentences, so like that just needs to get like the story needs to be relooked at and adjusted for that. Some punctuation needs to be put in there proper. So, but I digress. I hand the torch and pitchfork to Mikey. The E stands for evil.
I got one.
we got one. Thanks, Janine.
Okay. Continues from where you left off.
Oh, okay.
All over when this stalker rose his sickle into the air. So I rewrote it to when this stalker rose his sickle into the air, comma, it was all over.
Bam.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
that works well.
It says sickle there?
Oh, does it say sickle? Or scythe?
Yep.
Oh, because he has a scythe.
So that's a yeah, that they used the wrong word because sickle and scythe are similar tools, but they are not the same.
Yeah, a sickle's like
it's a hand. It's a yeah. Sorry.
Actually, it's not even a one-handed scythe because a one-handed scythe is a comma.
No, sickle is a crescent-bladed weapon or a crescent-bladed like reaping tool. Whereas a scythe,
the stalker doesn't even have a scythe. Let's be real; he has a fucking pickaxe.
He really does. Yeah, it's a pickaxe.
It's a straight-up pickaxe. He's a miner.
Yeah. I mean, technically they're all miners, but again, spoilers for the second tree. But
are they?
Yeah.
Oh, they do some mining. You are right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Totally. Definitely.
Yep. That's definitely what I meant.
Why is it snowing out? Sorry. God damn it! It's like bright out.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's all I got. No conjunction junction or its story this week.
Is that good or bad?
That's good.
It's good, but like the story, it's only good because that's one good thing that the story did against the run-on sentences.
Yeah, grammar-wise at least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So my go.
Yep.
So you say that the problem is all the run-on sentences. I say the problem is the fact that there's so many tiny paragraphs. They're all
that's also
two or three sentence paragraphs. Whether or not they're run-ons or not, there's just all tiny paragraphs, and most of them could just be clicked together.
Yeah.
Like for all, probably like the first 4 or 5 are all one scene, so you click them together, move on, like spread them out when things change. Like that's when you actually do your paragraph breaks, not just when you've done a couple of sentences.
Yeah.
And I have this quote. Volt searched around for a lit console to unlock the doors, and he found one right inside the door, out of a long room blocked by crates and a few surrounding areas, almost like the door was barricaded. So I kind of felt that was worded weird.
Confusing?
And it didn't, it was confusing. It didn't really paint an image at all in my head. So the way I rewrote it was, which I'm assuming this is the way it is, but as I have to assume, Volt searched around for a lit console to unlock the doors and found one beside a door at the end of a long room, period. Strangely, the door was blocked by crates as well as strangely, the door was blocked by crates as well as a few surrounding areas, almost like the whole room was barricaded.
That fixes that clears it up a lot.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's this long room, there's a console at the end, and all the doors are barricaded, like they're trying to keep something out.
Yeah.
Or in.
Mm-hmm.
The code was complex, period. He'd never been one for hacking, period. More for breaking light bulbs more than anything and providing time for his teammates, but the hacking somehow wasn't detected, period.
Oh shit, I had this one too, and I didn't add it to my notes. Damn it. Okay, sorry.
Fair. First off, actual thought in here. A Tenno after your own heart, isn't he, cultist? I know you aren't a fan of corpus hacking.
Fuck the corpus hacking.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I hate it so much. Give me a Grenier hacking terminal any day.
Yeah, that was just
it's just timing. It's just like
reactionary.
it's just timing the beats. I can deal with
For any
that.
of those struggling that are listening, if that's somehow the case and you're struggling with corpus ones, pick the ones that are 3 prongs first, then 2 prongs, then 1 prong. That's how you do them. And do the outside ring and then just spam the middle until it works. Either way, moving on from that. I found this whole sentence kind of confusing and really broken up into tiny sentences for no reason. So I rewrote it. He'd never been one for hacking, normally being the one breaking light bulbs and providing time for his teammates to do them instead, period. The code was complex, and try as he may, his hacking somehow wasn't being detected.
Yeah. That's, I think, about what I wanted to, how I would have fixed it. And I thought I had that, but apparently I didn't add that into my full note sheet for that.
So, question.
Yahar.
What does breaking light bulbs have to do with hacking?
It doesn't. It doesn't at all.
It's
not even something you can do in game. But
is it not?
This is in lore, so that's fine.
Again, this is like an in-lore thing. So he's adding on to, like, because what I picture, like, breaking lights and stuff is basically like him, like, being able to like break lights so that the enemy can't see you and like sneak around and like stealth kill everybody.
Yeah, he'd rather go around the mission breaking lights and doing that, and well, he's
and run
in regards to providing time for his teammates to do the hack. So
yeah,
it's like, there's a hack. We need to hack this room. There's a console there. I'll shoot the light above it and cover you, so you're hidden while you do the hack. You
know what actually might have been better than light ball, or like breaking light bulbs and stuff? That would have been breaking the sensors above doors, like, because you have to shoot those. Like, remember in the Corpus levels, there's those annoying sensors that will go off and then like set off like alarms and stuff.
Yeah,
that's probably what he meant.
Probably,
if I had to guess, or what they meant. But, anyway, yeah.
Well, considering it's KrazyKubrowLady.
That's right. That's what I meant. Yeah,
rather, it's probably she. Either way, that is the end of my grammar in yellow.
Okay. Then I suppose we shall move on to actual thoughts. I'm going to start off with the title.
I want to start with the title. How dare you?
All right, fight to the death.
I don't care. Go ahead.
Okay. honestly, I just like the victim, like the idea, like the word, like the title as it is, the victim. I don't hate it. Personally, I would have gone with the stalked. So that's honestly just my two bits on it. Gamer,
did you have it's really there's many victims in this story.
Yeah,
like, a lot of people died.
Yeah, and like the victim's a little too vague in terms of like
it really is.
Like, this is clearly a stalker creepypasta, so I feel like it should have a little bit of like a hint as to like the stalker. So.
Yeah, the title "The Victim" could be applied to almost any creepypasta.
Yeah.
Like, legit. So something like what you suggested, or like The Chilling Shadow, because he's all cold-based, or Justice, because like that's what Stalker's all about. Or just anything in regards to Stalker, cold, or having like a bounty being claimed, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's basically where I was getting at with the title. Is like it's just a little too vague.
Yes.
For my liking. So, but I'll move on to the next one. The Corpus Engineer who had his helmet torn off, his body cut into thirds, and what was left of his intestines spilling out on his lower half, and stomach acid eating away out of his flesh and bone was still warm. He had only been dead a few hours, but what could have massacred so many corpus like this?
I was meaning to do Grimmer and Yellow on that one.
For me, it was like a few hours dead and he's still warm. Like,
Yes.
probably just a skewed, like maybe there's a skewed temperature gauge, especially given like the nearby fires.
Yeah,
But
there's fire everywhere.
I still think like the body temperature of a corpse does not last more than a few minutes, or even an hour.
Or it's like he was basically saying, there's fire everywhere. That's why the body is still warm. It's just he's not feeling the warmth himself because he has this magical cold debuff on him that the stalker put on him.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. It still just kind of bugged me.
Yes.
He's like especially the way it's described, like he's been like still warm. He's been dead a few hours. That's not how body temperature works when you die. But I digress.
But if it's a dead body in a burning building,
in a burning, maybe, yeah, there is a bit of a skewed temperature gauge because of the nearby fires. Yeah. But I'll move on to the next one. Actually, this is a question regarding the stalker because I don't know a whole lot about the stalker's abilities. But let's start with I'll go with the quote first. The lights flickered. Okay.
Please continue.
The lights flickered one final time. The fire going out in one fell swoop, and ice forming almost instantly on the screen inside his helmet. So to me, again, not knowing a whole lot about the stalker, I'm like, this isn't the stalker. This is a rogue Frost that is that's doing this. Because like, does the stalker have cold attacks?
He does not have cold attacks.
Okay, so why is it like? Is it just because like shadow and darkness equal cold? So.
It's a creepypasta, so you can take things and augment them.
Yeah. Also, did I get that right? It is Frost, right? The other Warframe, the cold Warframe?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just kind of like, I remember there being an ice Pokemon, an ice Warframe, an ice Warframe, and I remember I figured that's probably Frost. His probably name's Frost. So.
Yep. This story. Mm-hmm. This kind of sounds like Final Thoughts in a way, but not really. But the story could be updated to modern times very easily just by switching the word stalker to malice and describing him as a Frost, because malice is an acolyte of the stalker who is a Frost Warframe who has been corrupted by the stalker, and he follows the stalker as his fanboy.
See, that would be interesting if, updated. The stalker's also in this story, but there's also malice, like also in the story. Also, because also when he uses the writer describes the stalker with several abilities of other Warframes, or at least they described some of his abilities or some of his his movements with other Warframes, like. Much like Excalibur, he rushed Vault with a scythe.
He does do that.
And then we get this part where like he apparently has ice power or like freezing powers because like the inside of Volt's helmet is starting to frost over and like there's like an intense cold. Which okay, so it is basically like I think it would be a cool update then, yes, like you said, to have Malice also added to this story. Like basically he's got some help. Like, so basically they're ganging up on this one Volt Warframe.
Yeah, it's either both of them doing that, or this is a test run for Malice. Like, Stalker's just on Overwatch, just watching everything happen.
Yeah.
He's like, here he is, go get him. Show me what you can do.
Yeah, for sure. And then my last one here is the last few lines. All over when this stalker rose his sickle into the air. Justice has been served. Your life comes to an end. So, aside from the fact that there's a shit ton of typos and grammar issues in the story, and the fact that it's not a sickle, it's a scythe.
No, I mean it's a pickaxe.
It's a pickaxe, yes. that stuff
They
aside,
call
like
it a scythe in game.
my issues with the story aside, like grammar wise and all that kind of stuff. I actually think this seems like a decent in-world, in-fiction encounter with the Stalker. Like, because we
Cold
get
powers notwithstanding.
Huh? What? Sorry.
Cold powers notwithstanding.
Cold powers notwithstanding, this does seem like the groundwork here is good for an in-world like Stalker encounter, because it actually kind of amps up a little bit of the horror aspects of being stalked by the Stalker. It just needs a bit more work, and honestly, I think, like we just said minutes ago, maybe not even have the Stalker be the main antagonist, have Malice be it, if you were going to update it to a more recent timeline of development. So
there's like 8 acolytes, so you could even pick a different one, even if you don't want to do cold. Like
yeah, exactly. It could be like different ones, or like maybe this is sort of like there's just like a stalking party. Like there's like his hounds are basically like after like a Tenno, like going after another Tenno.
Yeah.
And maybe at the end, maybe he doesn't even kill off the Vault. Maybe he like recruits them. I don't know. Like I don't know how Stalker works.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they've gone fully into detail as to how his acolytes became a thing. They're just a thing right now.
Yeah, I know a certain friend of ours would definitely like squee at the chance to be an acolyte of the Stalker.
Oh, hell yeah. He would fangirl all over Stalker.
Yeah. But yeah, that's honestly my actual thoughts for the story. Is just like I was a little confused at the body temperature stuff. The cold abilities of this Stalker, I was a little confused by. But otherwise, like aside from all of our heaping grammar inquisition shit, like it is an in-world, in-fiction Stalker story that we're ending TennoVember on. So
yeah, the only other Stalker one we had was that early one from back in the day.
Yeah,
where
nothing of
Stalker
import happened.
Yeah, it was all in game. Stalker showed up and then he killed my Warframe. And that was it.
Yeah, I'm fine though. Thanks for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I will swing the spotlight over to Mikey. E stands for evil.
All right. My actual thought, my first one on this is that there's too much Warframe jargon for someone who doesn't understand Warframe.
It's okay,
Fair.
man. We're
That's
done.
why we bring you here.
This is the last TennoVember episode.
Don't worry. Next month we'll do something. We'll do an entire month of something that you know what the hell it is, and I have no idea.
Yeah.
Balance it out.
And I have a quote which we've already quoted before, but I'll quote it again anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The datamast was in hand, his Sicarus Prime in the other, and a Soma at his back. The lone gold and red Tenno continued past several Moas, Ospreys, and Corpus, leaving a few bodies behind and leaving the others jittering and chatting.
And leaving poor Mikey behind.
Jargon.
Yeah.
And leaving poor readers of non-Warframe knowledge behind as well.
Yeah, because just that sentence alone, I was like, what is a datamass? And can you hold it in your hand?
What's a Sicarus? What's a Soma? What's a Moa?
Yeah. What's a Moa's Osprey specifically? Like, I searched for that specifically.
Because it was a grammar issue. God damn it. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Like that. Yeah. Like
there is a Moa that deploys an Osprey. Maybe that's what it's talking about. But no, probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just so much jargon that every time it shows up, I have to search and figure out what it is.
Yeah.
To be able to build my own headcanon on what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of
even something simple written in like I raised my the data mass, the hacking device data mass in my one hand, my burst pistol in my other hand with my fully automatic machine gun Soma on my back. Like just a simple short descriptor of each thing, I'm sure would help a lot. Because even if you view those things as like real world equivalents instead of the actual way that they look in game, at least you have a visual instead of going in completely blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what would fix this is a brief description of the things that are there.
Did you write down your own descriptions, or did I take the spotlight?
No, I didn't write down anything.
Okay, cool.
But I basically wrote that, a brief description would solve the majority of the issues. And because it's a story, describing it helps describe the scene, so it's better overall.
Yeah. It is sort of a thing that even like, a lot of video game creepypastas also fall with, or like they expect you to know about what's happening in the game. They expect you to be a fan already.
Yeah, because who else would read creepypasta about a game that they never played? Why would
I don't know, Mikey? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, again, like making it a little bit more accessible is always like a kind of a boon. Always kind of a good thing.
Yeah, like even if you know Warframe, you're not going to be like, oh, it's describing to me what a Soma is. I know that. I hate this story for that.
Yeah,
like,
honestly,
it's not
like
a downside ever.
Yeah, honestly, like even like as somebody who knows Warframe, like hearing like just hearing the names of like of certain things and stuff like that. Like I don't fully remember what a Soma looks like, or what a Sicarus looks like, or a data what is it? A data mass. Like I can kind of like guesstimate from like my past experience in the game, but also like that also tends to, again, like when you're doing that kind of thing, when you're just giving descriptors, it kind of comes off as the lazy fantasy writing, where you're not going to describe what the aconite glaive of Kadath means like looks like or it's like what does it look like? Is it just like a glaive, or does it have like a kind of color to it? Like what kind of like what is that? Yeah, it comes across like best case scenario, it comes off as lazy writing. Worst case scenario, you leave readers not in the know in the dust.
Yeah. So. That being said, have any of the Warframe creepypastas we've read described what the weapons are, or have I had to describe all of them?
Technically, no. Though I know, I think 2 weeks ago we did one that like did explain a little bit in game, or sort of like a few things. They explained a few things of the descriptions, but it wasn't like the it didn't quite explain the gear that was being used.
Yeah.
It just sort of like had like again like a
just name dropping them.
Yeah, just name dropping certain weapons. So
yeah, last week's Excalibur the Void, it brought up that he had a Latron Prime. But then
that's what I was thinking. Remember, yeah.
Yeah.
I kept wanting to call it Lisette Prime. I was like, no, that's the ship that you leave your orbiter on.
Yes.
But yeah, honestly, like I think a lot of creepypasta, like game creepypastas, could benefit from descriptions of what the named object is, rather than just name dropping the object.
Do any of them though? Like I'm thinking back to like Ben Drowned.
No.
Like, how much was described in that?
No, Ben Drowned, you were supposed to have played Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Now, I will say Ben Drowned did have the benefit of having screenshots, because the original creepypasta was an ARG, or had an ARG element to it, where it was like had video feed, like video of the encounters in the game.
Yeah, like even like Pokemon, they don't describe what all the Pokemon look like. They assume. So I don't know if it's fair for us to judge the Warframe one on not telling us what each weapon is and what all the Warframes look like and stuff. Because
I'm not just judging a Warframe. That's why I was saying it's something that Vigipastas have a problem doing.
General.
Yeah, because
I don't remember complaining about it until now. Because like I agree with Mikey, it should be described, but I don't know how we've gotten this far
I think it's
Without
because we've
bringing
all,
this
up until this point, we've all played Pokemon. We've all played Legend of Zelda to some degree.
Yeah.
Or like Pokepastas are all like, again, we were all fans of Pokemon. So I think that's honestly where it is. Like, we all knew it from our own context.
It's the first time that we have someone that's
Out of context.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Mikey.
Yeah.
There was a reason why we did TennoVember.
Yeah.
To bring to light the flaws of video game pre-pastas.
We finally figured it out. Last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's one more
Oh.
actual thought I have, which actually is similar to name dropping. Well, it is name dropping, but it doesn't make sense without the context of Warframe.
Okay.
So the quote is, "The figure drew his bow, aiming it directly at Volt's helmet. The second he took the shot was when the Tenno had finally moved to run. He wasn't a rhino."
Yep.
Yeah,
like,
I knew
so-
you were going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So Rhino is a slow, big buff like Warframe versus Volt, who is like one of the fastest Warframes in the game. So yeah, but yeah, no, like out of context, it's like he wasn't a Rhino.
Why would he be an animal? He's a
Yeah,
Warframe.
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think it's in regards that I think this is mentioned in one of my actual thoughts. I don't think that mention is there in regards to speed. I think he's basically saying, I'm not a rhino. I can't take a hit. I have to run.
Yeah.
It's not the fact that I'm fast enough to run. It's the fact that I can't be hit by this bow. I have to move.
Oh, so he like I can't. Okay. Oh, so you're thinking it's
He's
like
a glass
it's-
cannon. Compared
Yeah,
to a
I
tank.
get what you're saying. Yeah. Whereas like, yeah, I'm not Rhino. I can't just take this hit.
Yes.
Okay, I get you.
Okay. Again, Warframe context makes that a lot more clearer.
Yes.
Yes.
Honestly, yeah, it would have definitely helped if it would be like, he wasn't a Rhino. He couldn't just take the hit.
Yes. Just that one extra little line.
Yeah.
That would explain everything, even to those uninitiated.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because even a Rhino, like again, like a Rhino is a big built tank of an animal.
Yes.
They can take a couple of hits. Alternative rigor mortis does not support in any way potion.
Of course.
Just want to put that out there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not talking as a voice of experience.
No.
Or are you?
I'm not.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm not even going to joke about that. Yeah, I'm not.
No.
And that's in my actual thoughts.
All right. Gamer.
Okay. So the story begins. Bolt was alone in this mission. That's just how it starts. It seems kind of sudden, like being just thrown in media res situation. It's just it feels like there needs to be some sort of an intro.
Nope. you just said it. It's in media res, so it's fine.
Yeah, but
I know you don't like it all the time, but it's there. Like it's a I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I read that sentence, I thought of A Christmas Carol, and the Morleys were dead to begin with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you know what? That would be cool if that was actually tied into the story. Like the mission or the line is Volt was alone on this mission. And then you go through this entire story about him going through a mission with a couple of other Tenno and everything, doing stuff, and then by the end, he was doing the whole thing by himself. He was alone on the actual mission, and he was just like envisioning shit in his head. Or he went through the entire mission apparently killing all these enemies and stuff, but he was actually just, there was no one there at all. And he's just this insane Tenno that's locked up in this, on this asteroid, running through missions repeatedly in his head.
Oh my god. He's literally he's in an asylum, a padded room.
Yeah.
He's not even a Tenno. He's just a regular guy in an asylum.
Yeah.
He's just a player who went who went nuts.
It was one of those paper mache Volt masks on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I as much as I'm like laughing at that, I do like that idea. It's just like the twist ending, just being it's like no, this whole thing has just all been in some crazy player's head.
That would actually be a really cool way to do it.
It'd be like a really good. Like, you can only do it once. Like I can only deal with that once. But like, yeah, I think that would be a really interesting. Like, have this entire thing like be. You think it's in world, and it's like, psych. It's all been in some. It's actually been a player who just got way too obsessed over the game and has just been like kind of catatonic in a padded cell this entire time.
That'd be cool. However, that's not what we got. Moving on.
No.
The corpus engineer who had his helmet torn off. You read this. His body cut into thirds, intestines all over the place. He'd only been dead for a few hours. Who could have massacred so many corpus like this? Answer to that is literally any Tenno could.
I think I had that as like a note that I was going to write down. I was like, that seems like an obvious, like that seems like low hanging fruit. It's like to put down. But I'm glad that you did bring it up because any Tenno, any Warframe could do this. In fact, they do this every game.
Pretty much. So he said himself earlier that he's been killing and tasing enemies as he ran past, with plans to go back and kill them after even.
Yeah, so it's like, well, and then he goes into this like, and then like, it's less like I feel like the situation should be less like, what could have done all this horrible massacre? And it's like the fucking score killer or like a score taker.
Hey, you took my kills.
You took my kills, you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
it's more like that kind of situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be angry. You shouldn't be like freaked out or terrified. You should be angry. There's another Warframe in this mission.
Yeah, or just surprised, not necessarily scared. Yeah. And my next one, there's no real quote in regards to it, but Stalker shows up and they have their confrontation and he gets killed.
Yeah.
Right? I kind of wish there was more of a chase and or combat at all, because as we said, he doesn't fire his gun at all. Because basically what happened was Stalker showed up, took a bow shot, missed, Volt ran away, Stalker teleported to the top of the staircase, pushed him down the stairs.
Can he do that?
Why was he all of a sudden up there?
yeah. Can he do that? Like, is he faster than Volt?
I mean, when he shows up in the mission, he just teleports out of smoke.
Okay, so he is a teleport. So I guess like maybe they're using like the fact that he's like got like a teleportation ability,
or he just took a shortcut. I don't know, but either way, pushed him down the stairs and then finished him off. That's the whole thing. It's kind of like in Home Alone, him vanquishing one of the crooks. It doesn't really feel like two space ninjas doing battle.
Yeah, well, at the same time, like this is a horror game, This is a horror story, so like this Tenno is freaked out. Like, I do agree. He should have fired a couple of shots, had them be ineffective, and then ran.
Because my whole problem is he was killed by being pushed down the stairs.
Yeah.
By a cyberspace ninja assassin. That was his kill shot.
Yeah.
Going, and pushing him down the stairs. It seems kind of silly.
Stairs, my one weakness.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have been like he dodged the bow shot, he started firing with the Soma, or like using powers or something, hit him with a lightning bolt, but it did nothing. And he used his like volt speed to run away. But like the cold aura of the Stalker was slowing him down, so it didn't really work.
Yeah.
Like there's ways that it could be done to describe that shit's happening. Because at the end of the day, Volt could just be a guy.
Yeah, it could honestly. I think it would be more terrifying if it was actually like a corpus dude, not Volt. Like I think it would be more like that's again. We always like when we're talking about like using Warframe for like tabletop RPG stuff, like for One Less Die, or even for like actual play rigor mortis stuff like that we've talked about in the past.
I'm still brainstorming that idea.
Yeah, I always think that it's more interesting if you're not the Warframe or a Tenno. Mm-hmm. Like if you're one of the regular human faction group like guys in Warframe, because there's like a crap ton of these regular human people just trying to get by in the Origin system, and there's all these crazy space ninja bullshit. And
there's a lot of untapped potential. You play as the Warframes, which are basically the superheroes of this universe.
Yeah, like, and
That
honestly,
doesn't mean
like,
there isn't other shit going on.
yeah, and honestly, you don't really need to. There's not a whole lot to explore in a tabletop RPG. To a degree, with the Warframe, there's way more fodder with the other factions than with the regular people that aren't superpowered. Because, like, how are they surviving in this fucking hellscape of a solar system?
Yeah.
Like
There are ways to do it,
a
but
solar system that is in the remnants of a dead advanced empire. There is a spacefaring zombie plague. There is a cosmic horror, like eldritch abomination from beyond the void, like lurking here and there in rifts. There's an insane army of clones. There's a
profit-based
profit-based
military.
apathetic militia spanning the basically it's a cyberpunk dystopia with the corpus. There's these the only hope that the people of like people from colonies like Cetus and even Fortuna and so that have are these space ninjas that show up occasionally, but they're not there all the time.
No.
So like they've got to deal with other shit.
Own.
Like I loved one of the stories I loved in the Warframe missions was the one where like it's that colony of like Corpus folk that are harvesting infested on a quarantine ship. I was like,
mission to get Nidus.
Yeah, and when you go to get Nidus, like that is like I was so much more interested. I could care less about Nidus. I was more interested in the people in this colony on a fucking quarantine ship that are like risking their goddamn lives to gather infestation
for profit.
For profit and stuff like that, and to to also like learn about like the infestation stuff.
Yep.
Like that's so cool.
And they had this it's I don't want to say it's religion, but they have this like ongoing
they have it is sort of like
I can't think of it.
Idolization. Or they basically have like an oracle sort of set. Yeah, they have like a tradition of almost like an oracle sort of like thing from like the old days of like history, where like a singular person, i.e., like usually a young girl, would be used as a sacrifice.
Yeah, but she's also like immune to the infestation and shit like that, or something.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I saw the story.
There's a little bit more to it too, because like I recently did that Nidus mission like. I do recently, as in like this year.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, in that mission, like she is immune, but there's also a darkness to that, like a dark truth to that why she's immune.
Yeah.
And again, like she's treated again like a lot of like, it's sort of set up in the same vein of like she's immune and like she can hear the song of the infection, so that they can help like she can help her people, but they kind of treat her like so they kind of idolize her, almost like deify her a little bit, like as a community sometimes does, like a small community like this sometimes does. But again, like there's like and there's sort of like there's almost like a techno folk horror angle to that mission with those people. And again, going back to the Stalker is basically Jason Voorhees against the Corpus, or Michael Myers against the Corpus. Like he's just cutting down these people. Or anybody who gets in his way, or anybody he deems like needs deserves retribution.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's so much more potential in like terms of like a story or like tabletop RPG stuff to be told from the point of view of the non-Tenno in this origin system. And again, and then there's
if your character's all the Tenno and everything, and then updates come out and things happen in the story. Unless your story is going parallel with the actual events in the game,
it's going to be dated.
It's going to be A, dated, and B, like things might happen in the story that you wish are happening in your own story that you've kind of taken on a side non-canon route. Where if you do something that is not directly your Warframes, then everything could be viewed as canon. Yeah,
because it could be happening just not like off, like it's happening over there. But like meanwhile, you're dealing with this thing. Like it's like we've talked about it before, the idea of setting up another Earth colony similar to Cetus, but like elsewhere in the world. Maybe in the enigmatic North America, that you Canada. Never get to see on. Like I think it would be cool to have to have one like set up somewhere in like the London area of Ontario, where Digital Extremes takes place, or Digital Extremes exists. Like, and we know that it's going to possibly have some glacial sort of environments as well, because from what it looks like, there might from the one part of Quebec that is peeking out, or from the one part of the East Coast that's peeking out in any of the global maps that we've been able to find, it looks like there's some ice caps or some glacial sheet ice kind of like over those areas. But yeah, I think
then you would have to do a tile set on Earth that isn't a jungle, because the way the game is set up is Star Wars logic, where a planet is one biome.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I mean, that's whatever. Like again, it's again the dark side of Earth that we never get to see. So we can just we can make whatever we want in a tabletop RPG setting.
Yes,
or a
in
story.
tabletop for sure, but in reality, I'm sure Earth is not just the jungle everywhere.
No, I'm sure, or maybe it is, and that's interesting. What if it's like what does the jungle look like in the farther north and the colder it gets? Like maybe because the Earth has been polluted and toxified by there's basically a toxic jungle that has consumed it. So we're getting way. You know what? Listen to our Plot Growers episode where we're gonna listen to our Plot Growers episode that will eventually get done on our Patreon to find out more about our ideas for a tabletop RPG stuff with Warframe. Back to the subject at hand, the Stalker. So, yeah, like we said, Stalker would be it would be scarier for the Stalker to be fighting a regular Corpus guy rather than a Tenno in this case.
Yeah, or if it is going to be a Tenno, that's fine, but actually have some conflict and show that even though this Tenno is, he's a Warframe and he's super powerful, he can't do shit, even though he's just plowing through all the other enemies.
Yeah.
Show how powerful that the Stalker is.
Exactly. Like, that's the whole point of, in horror, that's what you do. You give the play in a horror RPG, you give the player the shotgun or the rocket launcher because you know the enemy, the monster you're going to throw at them, that ain't going to do shit. But it'll make the player feel better.
Mm-hmm. Or
it'll make the player. It'll make them feel better, and then it'll make them feel. Yeah, it'll make them feel better, and then it'll make them feel scared, which is what you want in a horror thing. So
yes,
yeah, that sense of helplessness is what you want in a horror scenario. In a horror story.
That's a story scenario.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's what we're trying to get across there. So
yes. But I shall move on.
Yes.
This one was kind of mentioned, but we didn't really talk about it too much. His life flashed in his mind, his friends, Nyx, Mag, Rhino, Ember, and Lowest Freedom from this pod. I don't know how I feel about naming the other characters by their frames, because frames are basically different armor sets. That's like referring to Halo Spartans by their armor type. Like, here's my friend Recon, my friend ODST, my friend Hayabusa, and EVA.
And Sergeant Johnson.
And Johnson's just there too.
Yeah. No, so I think this is the case of pre Second Dream. Where we thought that they were
catch-all for everything.
I don't know, but I mean, even because a lot of people, when they play Warframe, they don't not always necessarily they just view their character as their Warframe. They don't view them as something inside the Warframe.
Yeah, I guess, but
even some of the more recent animated fan film things that have happened that people have done for as really cool, awesome fan art and stuff, and fan animations. They always refer to their character, the characters in those stories are always Excalibur or Rhino or what have you.
Yeah.
So because
it's like when you're talking about Overwatch and people are picking the different characters, those are actual characters that have their own stories and everything, and they're named. That's how it is. And if that's the case in Warframe, that's cool. But then that would mean that there's a total of 47 Tenno in the lore in 2021.
And I mean,
if there's only one of each.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're in 2014. Maybe people were under the assumption that not all the players are. It's again, there's that Ludo narrative dissonance where it's sort of like an MMO thing where like there's in the story there's not supposed to be this many people, but in the game, because it's an MMO style kind of game, there's a shit ton of people.
Yeah. I mean, they do
It's that
explain
sort-
it out in the story, but yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when I looked up the number of Warframes, like, wow, they're almost up to 50 now.
Gotta
I
catch them all.
didn't realize they were that high. What if they're going to do something like special for number 50?
Just make a Pokemon themed one.
Yeah, totally. That's going to happen.
That's about as likely going to happen as me getting an art book from Steve.
I mean,
Damn it.
yeah,
Steve, where's my art book, please?
not going to happen.
No, never.
So, my last note is just in regards to the use of the Stalker.
Mhm.
I think it's very acceptable the way that the Stalker was used in this. He used his dread, his bow, his hate, which is his scythe/pickaxe. But he didn't use despair.
Sickle.
Yeah, he didn't use despair though, which are his kunai.
Unless that was what the sickle was supposed to be, was a kunai. Oh no, wait, no, sorry. I'm thinking of
Throwing
the.
knives.
I was thinking of the comma, not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, the cold powers are out of the blue, but they're used quite well, so I can't complain. Honestly, I really like the way that they're described.
It might also even just be psychosomatic, and then, or like maybe it started off as being psychosomatic. Like I mean, like it's not actually like physically cold and stuff like that. They're just like so entrenched in fear and like dread that they feel cold. But then it kind of maybe like that was the original, like that's how it started in the story, and then the person got kind of carried away when they were writing it. And
if it didn't say his visor iced up, then yes.
Yeah.
If there was no physical ice, then yeah, because then I would totally roll with that. Like him, all the fire going out was just the effect of him shadow teleporting in. It did like a little force push to knock the fire out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I brought up that in the current timeline, it'd be suitable for Malice and all that. But yeah, either way, Stalker's done quite well here. That is the end of my actual thoughts.
Okay. Then we shall move on to final thoughts. So I can't fully recommend this one because of the execution and the errors in the writing that we've all kind of griped on already. But I can get behind the desire to make a creepy in-lore account of encountering the Stalker, because he is kind of he was Warframe's big bad boogeyman. Like his first, it was Warframe's first big bad boogeyman, basically.
Yeah.
So I can get behind somebody wanting to make a creepypasta or a creepy story that's in lore of an encounter with this monster. So I can get behind that. That's why I'll partially recommend it. It needs a lot of work, but there is like ground here to step on. So, Mikey, D stands for evil.
As I pointed out in my actual thoughts, I would have loved some more description, even simple description, for things that are Warframe related. Just to help with the visuals and make it so that anyone who is uninitiated can also enjoy the story.
Yeah.
But as it stands, I'm not going to recommend this.
That is fair. And Gamer.
So, the Stalker himself is a terrifying monster in his own right, like even in the game. Because when you start out playing Warframe, you're low leveled, you don't have anything. If the Stalker shows up, you are fucked.
Yes.
Damn near unkillable. And it has the same sort of vibe that this story has. Like he shows up, it's just like, no, I'm out. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get the fuck out of here. You know, like
I remember when I first came across the Stalker, like, and I beat him. It was sort of like, holy shit, you beat him?
Yeah.
Like I remember that being like the situation, and I also remember it pissing off our one Stalker fanboy player, because I was the one that when he died, he dropped his bow, which our friend had wanted for the entirety of since falling for the Stalker, really.
I think it was despair.
Was it despair?
maybe because the bow drops.
I thought I thought it was the bow that he wanted, but
not sure. Either way,
yeah. Regardless, yeah. Like it was also like you guys were in the level 2 because like we knew that the stalker was after me because I had gotten a couple of messages.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, let's see if we can like prompt the stalker, and then like, oh shit, he's here. Oh god, oh shit. I just remember like, yeah,
everyone defend cultist.
Everyone defend cultist. God damn it.
Yeah.
It was a fun like it was thrilling and scary because like, oh god, he's here. He's gonna get me.
Yeah.
Like that's what the stalker incites. Is he incites the fear and like the thrill of being stalked. Weird.
And like edgelordiness aside and everything,
yes,
the stalker looks cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's a black and red evil aesthetic, which is overdone, but it's a really cool helmet.
It really is.
It's all shadowy, and he like speaks with that like whispery voice. It's all like, if you want to say cliche, fine, but it's cliche for a reason, you know?
Yeah, like there's a reason why things become tropes and cliche. It's because they're used, like they start off good and then they got overused.
But for the story in general, I like how Stalker was used. Granted, he was given cold powers out of nowhere, but they were used great and to great effect. They were kind of cool. Could have been used more. But overall, he was booked as a scary assassin, and he did that job well. I just wish there was more conflict, because it didn't really feel like it was two space ninjas fighting. It felt like it was a child running away from a murderer.
Yeah. Or like we said earlier, it almost like could have just been like a corpus guy.
Yeah, if he was just a dude, then the exact same like result at the end could be fine.
Yeah,
but it's not. So, in my opinion, that should be changed. But in regards to a Stalker creepypasta in general, justice has been served. Stalker has been written acceptably into a story finally, because we had the other one before, and it was not very good. Like, no, I don't want to shit on anyone's writing, but it didn't take advantage of making a story in lore and actually showcasing what the Stalker would do, you know? Yeah. For sure. It's not perfect, as I mentioned, in my thoughts and all your guys' thoughts, but overall, I have to at least give it a partial, because it has good visuals. It isn't afraid to add to what's already there in regards to the ice powers. But, yeah, just more conflict, showing the Stalker's a badass ninja like he's supposed to be, you know?
Okay. So two partials and one non-recommendation.
Again, I do also want to double down on there should be a little bit more descriptor.
Yes. I think all of us agree with that. Like, yes. I think we can all agree, get behind that. So
for sure.
Yeah. People need to describe, like, don't just name drop, guys. Just like when you're doing creepypastas based on video games, or you're doing creepy stories based on video games that you like, describe in some capacity like named things from that game so that people know what they are. Like, even because basically go into writing these kind of stories as if you are writing it for someone who's never played the game.
Yeah, but at like, how far do you go with that?
I don't mean that like, I don't mean that to be like over explain things, but I mean like expect some people who are reading your story aren't as like knowledgeable. So maybe add a little bit of detail to kind of get so people can get by at least and aren't left in the dust.
Yeah, for example, like with a Pokemon one, I'll go back there. If you're talking about a Pikachu, instead of just saying my Pikachu, he was evil, blood dripping from him, be like my little yellow rat Pikachu, like just little something just to give someone that does not know what it is can at least envision a yellow rat.
Yeah, or like my little something. Pikachu, that electric mouse Pokemon. Like,
I guess it is mouse, not a rat, but yeah. Just something.
Yeah, no, 100%. I can get behind that. Mm-hmm. So that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, or this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're all on Twitter in some capacity. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow without the W because his name is very long. Yeah. And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky things, no sleep stories, what have you. Send us your creepy things and we will look at them and discuss them for the show. And for those of you that would like to help support the show financially, go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. For our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like speaking into the void. And without your authorship, without these stories that you write and share online, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to read and get spooked by and then talk about. So, thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. We say farewell to TennoVember. Sleep well.